Rocky V. Such a divisive film. Even though it's not as entertaining as chapters 1 through 4, it still has the heart that makes up the true message of the Rocky films. So I think we can all agree that Rocky V could have been way better than what it was. But it's still a good, classic film of the 90s. But could it have been better? Here is my concept for what Rocky V could have been. A better version of the film. So, to begin, I would not have given Rocky brain damage. Even though it's realistic, it's too sad and depressing, especially right after he's defeated Drago. It also tells the audience to not expect any more fighting from Rocky, and that pancakes the excitement of the audience watching the film. Also, if his brain damage remained consistent, then we wouldn't have seen him fight again in Rocky VI. So, no brain damage. Next, I'll keep them losing their money and moving back to Philly. It's an interesting idea that brings Rocky back to his roots. Even though he always carried his roots with him, even when he was rich, but that's beside the point. It's a charming visual, and it's cool to see him wear his old outfit again from Rocky I, with his fedora. I wouldn't have made it Paulie's fault, though. Paulie grew as a character, and at this point in the series, he wouldn't have done something like that. Maybe he'd lose some money, but not all of it. You could just blame it on some other economic reason. So they go back to the old house in Philly, and then the screen says, 5 years later. So that we see Rocky's son is much older than he was in Rocky IV, 'cause that age thing in Rocky V never made sense. So this would fix that. Now in that time that passed, Rocky now owns Mighty Mick's gym and trains new boxers, like how Mickey did, and his son is still interested in fighting. Rocky trains him, etc. Now, what happens next is Drago shows up to see Rocky at the gym. Rocky's shocked to see him. He's different now. He explains to Rocky that he's changed the way he is as a person, ever since Rocky defeated him back in '85. He realized that he basically had no soul, and was being abused and manipulated by the Russian government. This change would be really interesting, because Drago seemed somewhat affected by Rocky's speech at the end of Rocky IV, and by this point, Drago is a memorable movie character. So it's time to see Drago's character development. And he apologizes to Rocky for killing his best friend. At first, Rocky doesn't know how to feel, but then Drago says to Rocky, "It's like you said, everybody can change," quoting his line from Rocky IV. Another thing that's cool about this is now we get to see Drago talk more than compared to Rocky IV. He could still have a somewhat sinister demeanor about him, but he's a good guy now. Some of you might not like seeing Drago turn good, and only want to remember him as a villain from Rocky IV. But there's no more villain things for Drago to do anyway, because Rocky defeated him, and that's it. If you love Drago more as a villain, then you'll always have Rocky IV to watch. But this is Rocky V. It's time to continue to make this series fresh after 4 films. You could also have a scene where Drago visits the grave of Apollo Creed to show that he truly has remorse for what he did. Drago is also now retired from boxing. To him, boxing just has too many bad memories attached to it. So, the film shows that in time, Rocky eventually forgives Drago, somewhat, and Rocky and Drago hang out sometimes at Mighty Mick's gym. Then the next part of the film shows that a new gym has recently opened up in Philly, and it's run by none other than Rocky's old rival, Clubber Lang. Yes, Mr. T from Rocky III returns. Now, as expected, Clubber shows up at Mighty Mick's gym to confront Rocky and demands a rematch from him. Rocky declines, because Adrian really wants Rocky to permanently retire at this point in his life. And here, Drago meets Clubber Lang for the first time. As fans, we're wondering who would win in a fight. So Clubber tells Balboa to stop training people in his gym and mocks him, telling him only real fighters, real men, train at his gym. So in the film, both gyms can have a rivalry between one another. I know this is very similar to Cobra Kai, as I am a big Karate Kid fan, but this gym rivals storyline would have happened first in Rocky V, in the early 90s. way before Cobra Kai ever happened. It could also be revealed that Clubber Lang now has a son, who would be around the same age as Rocky's son. And when Rocky's not around, they can show scenes where Clubber's son encounters Rocky's son in the alleyways and bullies him, threatening to kick his ass, etc. This creates a good conflict for Rocky, and doesn't know exactly what to do about it. Then there could be a scene where Clubber fights Drago, and it could be in Rocky's gym, when Rocky's not there. Drago's helping out in the gym, and Clubber attacks him, and we get to see an awesome fist fight between Drago and Clubber, and eventually, Clubber actually wins the fight. Drago is left bruised and confused about his place in the world now. We, as fans, would expect Drago to win that match because in Rocky IV, he was the toughest opponent in all the Rocky films. But it's been years since Drago has fought, so he's rusty. And not only that, much of what Drago's power was the steroids that were given to him. He never quite had the mind in training that Rocky did, which is why Rocky was able to defeat him at the end of the last movie. So, now Rocky finds out what happened, but still doesn't quite have a solution. And then eventually the next chapter of the film happens, which is the most unexpected part of the film. Clubber Lang burns down Mighty Mick's gym. The building is now rubble, and Rocky is pissed. Now he's ready to go, and he confronts Clubber outside his gym at sundown with Drago. And Rocky and Drago team up together to face Clubber in a street fight. And Clubber says, 2 against 1, I like the odds. I only have one prediction for this outcome. Pain. A throwback to one of his classic lines from the amazing Rocky III. So the three of them duke it out in a badass fist fight in an ultimate Rocky dream match. What winds up happening is Rocky gets badly hurt, and the only one that can continue the fight is Drago. And eventually, Drago kicks Mr. T or Clubber Lang's ass, and Drago wins the fight. Some of you might be disappointed that Rocky doesn't win, but having Drago win shows Drago's character redemption, from killing someone in the ring to beating an opponent who is a bully and a villain. Also, not to mention, Rocky already defeated Clubber Lang in Rocky III, so having Drago win is more interesting. And there you have it. That's pretty much my version of Rocky V. You could have Rocky have a flashback to Apollo telling him about the Eye of the Tiger, and still have that awesome flashback of Mickey, used in the actual Rocky V. And it should at least have 2 new songs that sound similar to the tracks in Rocky IV. Just 2 new badass tracks that give you the same feeling Rocky III and IV had. And I think my version of Rocky V is pretty great. So then, what about after Rocky V? Well, Rocky VI could still be the stuff with Tommy Gunn and the conflict he has with his son. So basically that stuff would become Rocky VI, and actually title the film that. So then what was actually Rocky VI now becomes Rocky VII, and I think that feels satisfying. Ending at the 7th movie, that's a good number to end it at. That feels like a full course meal. Everyone would feel satisfied at ending it at number 7, I think. So in my rewriting of Rocky history, there was 2 Rocky movies in the 70s, 2 in the 80s, and now 2 Rocky movies in the 90s, because Rocky VI would happen in the 90s, and then 1 Rocky movie in the 2000s, Rocky VII. So, let me know what you guys think, and please like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video, and please hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads. I'm a huge Rocky fan, so I really want to know what you guys think. Thank you for watching, and always remember what Rocky V said. Go for it!